Welcome back. Good to see you. You have myself, Chase, and Timothy here for another walkthrough. This time it is Kapital, our beloved friends at Kapital.
We've had a few deliveries. It feels like.
Yeah, this is 2 deliveries, the 2 most recent deliveries, because one came less than a month ago.
Yeah, we'll just go through and show some things off.
Yeah. Before we begin, literally as we sat down to film this video, we had a FedEx delivery that Chris brought over. Every year Kapital sends us, this is stuff I'm pretty sure you can't just like buy it.
I don't think it's sold. If it's sold, it would only be in the Kapital stores in Japan.
It's calendars. Every year they've got a theme. This year's 2025 calendar, Bone and Booze, 40th anniversary from Kapital.
We can kind of move them up there. I forgot we got our new handy dandy.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Just a kind of a cool, unique thing that like maybe you don't always see online, you know?
Yeah.
That we see a lot, and they change every single season. Usually they play off whatever theme is happening within the collection.
I've got a handful in my office, and they're just cool to have. And it has paisley bandana kind of things all over it.
I remember the one.
One is like, it was the first year of COVID. It was everybody at home. It looked like probably like the Kapital crew at home in like fleeces and smiley face gear and whatnot. So it's just cool, little collectible. So
thought we'd show it off real quick since it was in our hands.
Thank you for that, for sending that Kapital. But other than that, let's just hop into it.
Let's get into it because there's a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot here, brother.
So we're gonna try to feature everything and keep it moving at the same time.
Let's start with these boys.
Yeah, great. So Kapital theme, the speakeasy theme with the eyeballs there. Kind of reoccurs. You'll see it throughout the collection in scarves and embroidered on jackets and everything. So this is a really cool fingerless glove. I mean, I think these are kind of underrated. I mean, I know a lot of people get the ones that you can click on things with, but I don't know.
This is the Home Alone burglar special. You know what I mean?
Sticky bandit special.
This is cool. I like fingerless gloves because you can still use your phone, or like it's easier to like fuck with screens in your car or whatever. It's just there's a lot of things that gloves inhibit you from doing. Put these on just to show they fit my hands. I think I've got big hands. So
and the thing is too, like I like that all of it's longer. Like you see what I'm saying? Like
it
your fingertips are out, but it's not like you're you know they're not cut down super short.
Worth noting with all of these products, certainly accessories, we're showing one color. We've got them in multiple colors.
Everything that's an accessory comes in a ton of different colors, so please go check them out. We just tried to pick either our favorite or just so we could highlight one or what you could see the best. But
realizing now they're not symmetrical, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
different color stitching.
Without even looking at them, I'm going to tell you they're probably all a little bit different. But really cool when you see it in person. Little beads along the eyelashes there, the multicolored pupil, just like a lot of cool.
This is like a bookbinding stitch looking kind of thing, which is cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool and detailed. So great little gift, or just like nice to have in your closet, so you've got that thing and you don't have to have a boring ass one you got at Walgreens.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There you go.
Moving on, also within the speakeasy theme, as you'll see is a recurring theme here, the denim bucket hat. Same situation, lots of hand mending, hand finishing on these edges. And then we got all this nice little, not crochet, like embroidery.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because, like we said, like every single eye is a little bit different. They all feel very unique. This is also, of all the different Kapital bucket hats, there's quite a few different variations. This is probably the easiest to wear. Very straightforward.
The most normal.
Yeah. Very clean, easy, and you get that little hit again. So
cool
way to kind of keep playing into that Kapital theme.
Yep. Moving on, we've got these military drab color. The brim is pretty loose and not straight with the conch.
Yeah, it feels like very surplus. I think that, like, to me, when I see this, and I'm sure there's a couple Ralph Lauren heads that listen, this feels very cool because I used to do this myself, where you get like an old beat up hat, whether it's an old polo hat or an old vintage, military surplus hat or something like that, and you take one of these, these pieces right here that you see, and you can play it here, wherever you want it. In this case, there's actually a magnet that keeps that one down. I don't know if it's up here or not, but I used to wear them up here because the vintage collector, I'm forgetting his last name off the top of my head, it's Doug from, he works for Ralph Lauren. He was famous for wearing these kind of like really unstructured military style hats and then putting some kind of cool pin at the top. So it kind of like feels like that to me. Super wearable. I don't think it really matters like what kind of style you have. This sort of works and it's cool, and it's just like a little left of normal and cool. So very Kapital, super cool.
I'm gonna grab these down in a bundle, but we'll go through them in one. So if you want to start on this boy.
Yeah, I would love to start with these because I think these need like a bit of explanation. So these are new. These are basically just, you know, they're just regular bandanas, but you can kind of see they're cut in this long, I'm in there, this long diamond shape.
Yeah.
What's really great about this is we get this all the time, like how do you tie bandanas? How do you make them look not so bulky? Because it can be really difficult. And quite frankly, the only real way is to like wear them a shitload, wash them a shitload until they're super soft.
Until they look like this.
And you kind of keep training the fabric until it feels like this. They are cutting off a lot of the excess material that you know, for this purpose would be excess material, so that you can easily wind this up. Anybody can get this kind of perfect, go straight around. I would do the classic, you know, like you're tying a Windsor, boom, you're done. You can adjust it that way. Or if you got like an old ring, like you can take the ring like this and just put it straight through.
Oh yeah.
And then you pull it right up in there, and then it'll just stay put. Yeah. Also a cool way to do that too. But the nice thing is it just doesn't have all that excess material. So if you've been trying to like get that perfect like vintage look, this is kind of it. Comes in a couple different things. This feels more like almost that like old Ortega cloth or whatever. And then you've got like a classic bandana.
All right, moving on. We'll do this rapid fire. Let's talk about them, boom. And we got a handful of the compressed wool scarves and the blankets.
Yep.
So we got these ones, Sashiko pattern.
Yep, love that it's got the red at the bottom. It's got like a different color at the bottom, so you get a little hit, but nothing crazy. This, you get all the greatness of this big compressed wool scarf, but it's also not as maybe loud and colorful as the others, so easier to work in. So
Yep. So we
good
got
choice
that
if you want
one.
something easier.
We've got these, which we have had before. Shoot, I'm not gonna be able to think of the name.
GABBEH or something?
GABBEH, yeah. It's like a village GABBEH or something. Really cool. This is my favorite.
Folk style design. I've got one of these.
Yep,
These
very
really
paneled
cool.
and beautiful.
Great colors, you know.
The turquoise is my favorite.
A lot of little hits. It's kind of one where you kind of keep discovering little things about it, little like pictures of wheat, little goats, little you know, all sorts of stuff. So this is a really fun one.
Yeah. So we've got it in the speakeasy situation as well.
Yep, so there you go. You get the eyes again. Each one's different.
Yep,
really
so that's
cool
the speakeasy scarf.
Again, all of these come in a bunch of different colors. So please, if you like one, go check it out. We should have a ton of different colors.
Yeah, this is what we recommend for a gift every year that we've ever been a store.
Yep.
And then lastly, a fun thing they did was they took the compressed wool scarf, made it bigger, and it's a blanket.
Yep.
So I would use this as I would use it as like a throw blanket, but it'd be cool to go on like the back of your couch or a nice chair or what have you, just to have out a pop of color. But these are really, really sick. Texture on it is sick, nice and warm. But
so look, big can and I think would be great to be used as a blanket, but I also think there's a lot of alternate ways to wear this. I think depending on how how comfortable you are with like alternate stylings, you can get this to be like a dress or a skirt or a top, something interesting like that. Easy to tie. This is like a very flexible fabric. And it's really forgiving, even though it's wool, because of the way they compress the actual wool itself. So yes, obviously it would be totally cool in the house, and I think a great choice, even if you're like throwing it over just like a pretty chair or something. But I also think this is a pretty versatile thing as well. Like if you kept this in your car, you could do this like over your head, kind of over your jacket, over everything. You get one of those big safety pins, keep it closed, almost wear it like a cardigan. There's a lot of ways to do a big piece of fabric like this.
You could just have it as a scarf or under the ground too, just big.
Kapital styles these really well throughout their website and all the ways I just said. So also I'd encourage you to check out like the different ways to use it, but highly versatile piece, also a really cool gift.
Yeah, dope. And then my personal favorite thing in the last couple of shipments, we were in Tokyo, you were not feeling well, but we were in the Kapital showroom, walking up the stairs, and we're like, oh shit, this is cool.
So this is a really cool piece.
This is half of it. It's much bigger than this.
Yeah, so I'm trying to show you the whole thing. It's gonna be hard to get in here. This is a big old Kapital logo in the middle. Kind of got the eyes, so it plays off the speakeasy thing. Definitely supposed to be like classic, like kind of like Santa Fe style blankets. Couple different blends of I think ideas that are happening here. But one thing I want to point out. Looks like a rug, could play as a rug, depending if you did a rug pad or something like that. Really thin, really easy. Like, again, could be worn in a couple different ways. I think would be really cool. But also, like, this is a really comfortable, super soft blanket. It looks like those kind of vintage rugs I was talking about, but not quite as rough of a material.
Very soft. It looks rough.
Yeah.
It's not.
Super soft, really comfortable, great blanket to have around the house. And it's like a big Kapital thing. But also, the way they were doing it is just hung up.
As like a tapestry.
As a tapestry, it looked really cool.
I think that's how we have it in the store right now as well. So
so tons of different ways to do this. The price point is kind of insane.
Dude.
How big the piece is and how cool it is and soft and interesting. So I really think this is an awesome gift for any like guy that's into this kind of stuff. Looks great around the house. I think that anybody could kind of like get into this.
Anybody can use more blankets too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have 2 or 3 that I like to cycle through depending on the day, and I would love to add this to the rotation.
These are really special.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Love
I
those.
think they're gonna go fast.
This is brown, and the other one I think you said was red.
Yep.
Similar color scheme, just red. All right, these are, I believe like the DixieRemake, I think is what we've got them as. But the Speakeasy theme obviously showing through with this patch. They do a really good job at it being almost like seamless feeling. So it's like, it would be comfortable to wear. You're not gonna have like a big patch on your thigh.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's a big piece of fabric underneath.
Exactly.
It's done really elegantly. This is all the rip and repair stuff that they're known for. Really cool. Like the tinting of all the different fraying is really cool.
It looks really vintage.
It's gonna continue to grow with you. Just even the little details of like using an alternate patch there.
Yep.
It's these are special. I mean, the right person is gonna freak out over these.
Yep.
Simple on the back too, and this is already washed, burn out a little bit.
Yep.
So like, you can start wearing and washing these right away. They're just gonna get softer and better.
Not gonna shrink up on you or anything.
No.
You're good to go.
Yeah, these are really cool, and obviously, like you get the classic Kapital leather patch, and then there's, just to show it again, there's all the cool detailing there.
Really dope.
Yeah.
Really dope. Roping on the hem is really sick.
Yep. Great pair of jeans. Obviously, what they started out doing.
For the lounger in your life, or maybe you are the lounger in your life, these bone fleece pants from Kapital, thick, dude.
Yeah, this is like classic, like vintage Patagonia high pile.
Yes.
One thing to point out is comparison to like that type of thing. That's kind of a rough material. Even what you have, much rougher than this.
Yes.
This is like really high pile, but it's extremely soft. I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's extremely soft.
Yes.
And it's gonna do that kind of like gathering and bunching thing that like the vintage ones do over time. So it'll look really cool as you like wear it down, and it'll also kind of flatten into itself a bit. So these are super cool. Also gusseted crotch, it's almost like a climbing pant.
Yeah,
so it's gonna have a ton of room.
Yeah.
I really like the paracord that they've got on it.
Nothing
and it's
on the
also
back,
simple on the back, so it's just not too loud. I mean, obviously it's a skeleton pants in shirt, but it's loud. But
is what it is.
They dialed it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Get zipper pockets. So these are cool just around the house pants, but also like you could obviously work this into a ton of different fits. I think it's really cool.
If you just approach it with some confidence, so be it. You know, I think our buddy Ian would pull those off well.
Oh yeah.
This is a perfect example of Kapital doing just like a straight up, just a good piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got like a couple jackets in the collection because Kapital can skew like wild and crazy, which is something we just saw in some of the pieces prior. Just a really nice, high-waisted, nice and washed, so it's already got that hairy texture. Pair
These are really soft.
Yeah.
Like surprisingly
very soft.
I love the high rise on them. It's supposed to be kind of like the 70s, 501s, things like that. So it's got a nice high rise on it, really straight leg. They kind of come stock with this big old cuff on purpose. So it's meant to hit where it's supposed to hit, but have the big cuff on it. You could obviously hem it if you don't want it, and you'd get a great look that way too. But I love the big hem. And what's really cool is the selvage has no detail on the edges. So it's just the classic white, very true vintage.
Clean.
These are great. I could see these styled a million different ways. I think they look great on guys or girls, different body shapes. They're really like a cool, like flattering, like, but in its simplicity, also pretty striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Again, the rise is not small. It's a very generous rise. I mean.
But you did this with like a tucked in tee or something like that. It's so sick. Like that alone
Americana.
is so cool.
Yeah.
But it still feels punky because it's Kapital.
Yep.
And big
keep
difference
the
is soft.
And soft
Super
as hell.
soft, yeah, like
very,
sweatpants.
very, very. I would say even hairier than like a one wash or slow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
By quite a lot.
Yeah. This is a really cool denim.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
These are great. So these have been really popular already. I think we still got a decent amount left, but going very quickly. Kind of just your take on the classic, track pant. I mean, they're just putting these like, it's almost like two big sets of stripes on it, so you get this really wide edge. I think the key here, at least to me, is like the fit. It's a flare, but it's really kind of, but no, maybe it's just straight.
These
it's
are just more straight
reads.
leg in my opinion. Yeah.
So they're really like full, but because the material is the material that you'd be familiar with from Adidas or whatever, is it's super soft and super soft and drapey. So it's gonna fall really nicely and gather really nicely and be really like easy to wear.
Yeah. These are sick.
Really cool materials, super high end, really nice. Anybody can wear these.
Here, let's do this as a set, huh? So we got the pants underneath. These are flared, and very much so.
Yeah.
So they got a flare from the knee down.
But I want to say this much. I'm actually going to walk it back. I'm not going to call this a flare. I'm going to call this is a kind of a classic boot cut.
Okay, fair.
This very much like even in the pockets, this is very much like an old Wrangler.
Yeah.
An old Wrangler boot cut. So it's not to say there isn't a noticeable thing, but I wouldn't call it a full flare. It's similar to me to a boot cut. It's probably somewhere in between.
Probably feels more exaggerated when it's flat.
Yeah,
and you can see the lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
on
and
body.
especially with it's got a higher rise. It's got those arched pockets that Wrangler was very famous for. It feels like almost like that old Stay Pressed stuff.
Yep, we got some mallard embroidery all over it, which is so
kind of
cool.
old LL Bean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of this like interesting, like very like, it's everything about it is so retro, but it also feels so young and cool at the same time. The jacket is very like cool and cropped, all silk lined, really pretty liner. So yeah, I mean, this is a really like bold choice, but man, is it cool in person. It's like a classic wider wale corduroy, super soft, easy to wear. Definitely feels like to me like old LL Bean or old Orvis or something like that.
Orvis would be a really good one.
Yeah.
Even this font that they used here for the washing instructions is so classic.
But it's really cool. Yeah. This is, this is one of those pieces where, like, is it for everyone? No.
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 But
like,
Kapital's not trying to be for everybody either. So.
Yeah, but man, whoever can pull this off, it's so good. We've already sold a couple of them. People are loving it. I think you could also do the jacket by itself or the pants by itself. Honestly, I think either way, you'd be great with the pair of jeans or something. So. Oh yeah, totally. Fairly versatile too, if it works for you.
The beloved Bones motif. It is a knit hoodie. So it's a knit material. It's not like a
so this is like
cotton fabric.
All the 5G sweaters that we've had from them, the vests, the crew necks, the cardigans. This is the same material. So nice and substantial, not super itchy, not super rough, but still feels sturdy. Yeah. I've seen this a lot with like really high-end brands doing like kind of that knit hoodie again. Yeah. Like we've seen it from Marni, I've seen it from Louis Vuitton. I've seen it. I think it's definitely kind of like a little bit of a trending look. I think this is also like a cool thing to put underneath a jacket, and it feels like a little bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna say like even if you're not keen to have the bones out and about, you could just treat it like a regular hoodie and put it underneath your jacket. Yeah, and then what you're getting is like the play on the texture, and it's not so much the graphic itself. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can get a little bit of best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But classic piece, we always have it of some nature, and this is just the current season nature. But yeah, really cool piece. Nice, comfortable fit too. Wide, boxy, but not crazy.
I love the long drawstrings. It adds another proportion. Like if you did have under a jacket, you can pull those out. It kind of
finished them out
long.
Really cool.
All right. Speaking of beloved motifs, the cookies motif. We had this formerly in a big ass T-shirt and a cutoff T-shirt as well.
We had it one other place too, but this sells out every time we have it.
So sick.
This is kind of like feels very like old Harley, old metal tee, somewhere in there. The graphics really cool. I mean, for all of my like vintage collectors and stuff, like all this like cool shit they're doing to make the print look cracked and beat up and stuff ahead of time is really going to pay off long term, because a couple washes and wears and that's really going to accelerate that look, and it's just going to look cooler and more beat up and more vintage over time. Plus it's in that classic beat up black that we've done in almost everything we've ever done personally. So,
we love it. Yeah. Slightly dropped shoulders, but not terribly so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
more
this would be dope.
vintage boxy fit, not just boxy fit. That
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
Really cool piece.
This thing's dope too. What's this style color?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I gotta tell you, this is a piece that I really liked when we first saw it. Heavy, classic, like U.S. Navy style, kind of repro of like I forget what it's called, like off-base garment or whatever, but it's really cool. It kind of feels like an old letter jacket. But somewhere in between those two things, it's got the big collar that can zip all the way up.
All the way up to the nose.
For me, I didn't know if I understood it. Like I really liked it, but I didn't understand it until Kate, who just walked through, styled it over at the store.
At the mannequin? On the mannequin?
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
She had it
agreed.
with like a really the pair of Harrell, like higher waisted fatigues, which feels very military but
Perfect
cool
for this, yeah.
And the proportions really make sense when it's on. Like it's cropped so much like a varsity jacket is what I was looking
like a varsity jacket, or
Yeah.
even dude, like it's almost like a bomber shape too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. What I want to point out is what to me that made it is the collar, the way it does, more of that shawl is really unique. I love the dual zip with the big ring zipper pulls.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to point out is this super dense ribbing at the bottom isn't tight like a lot of the vintage and stuff.
It's not going to
see.
sit at your hips all really super tight, and you have the
really
dual-way zip.
elegantly, and you can do the dual-way zip to get it sit just so.
Yep.
And man, did it look cool, kind of on that mannequin. And
I
it's
completely
really
agree.
made me like rethink this piece entirely.
Yeah.
So would encourage you to look up some on bodies of this. We should have them, or we'll have them in I'm sure a look or something like that around. I'm sure Kapital has them, but really worth seeing it on body to get the idea of how the proportion works, because it's a really special piece when you see it that way. Cool.
All right. This is another hoodie from Kapital. Worth noting, sizing on this is labeled F, free. There is no sizing.
Nope.
It's one size fits all, which means typically it's quite roomy and very big. So I'm gonna take this out actually.
Yeah, Kapital has done these in the past here and there. They're usually very popular, kind of collectible because they go quickly. Big, wide, they'll fit anybody. They have a big drop. So also you might notice like, oh, that looks like a cutoff sleeve. I'm not sure if that's gonna work for me. This is gonna go to about the wrist almost because of how far it drops off the shoulder.
Yeah.
Cropped, but actually that's nice because I think that when something is this wide, you want it to not be long too, or then it just starts to look huge.
Yeah,
You know,
then you're just wearing a quadruple X.
This, like I'm saying, it's kind of like, actually the hoodies and stuff that we did for the Canoe Club ones are that way. Like I've put on a double X and I've put on a medium, and both fit me just in like different ways, if that makes sense.
Still dope though.
So has kind of a vintage look, vintage feel, really great. You get the Borough Madness, Borough Massacre across the top. Really cool, man. It's again, it's got that cool, like kind of cracked lettering that'll kind of continue to age over time, and it's got the big kind of like SASHIKO style fabric pulls.
And it's almost like sun faded-esque, you know,
Yeah,
like it's so
100%.
hairy
Yep.
and truly vintagey.
Super soft, but heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cool piece. I really like, I've seen a guy bought one over the store and he had like a cool like white thermal on it underneath that was sticking out on the wrist, and it just really like kind of came together.
Texturally worked.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really
Sick.
cool. This is pretty straightforward, but it's unique in its straightforwardness, if that makes sense. So pretty classic camo, sort of going off of the desert or a frog camo, somewhere in between. 100, it's all knit, so you're going to also see all the different like color variation that happens inside of the knit itself. I don't know if that'll pick it up or not, but there's probably like, I don't know, I want to say like 5 or 6 unique colors just in the green alone that really make it much more three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward piece from Kapital.
It's one of those ones where just kind of work it in. The camo itself makes it a little different. It's a knit that's also camo, but other than that, it's wearable. Yeah.
I think that like this really shines when you wear this like underneath something and have it be a pop of like, pattern and color.
I would love like a blue Oxford underneath that. I think it would go well with the green. All right, we've had these before as well. It's the fleece. It's kind of boxy, slightly cropped. Got these zip pockets on the side, which are really nice and make it convenient if you wanted it to be like the outermost layer. A lot of the staff has these or has had them over the years. Kind of comes in and everybody snatches one up.
This is a piece that they've had in the collection a long time. It's had slight variances throughout the years, but for the most part, it's always stayed the same. We sell out of them every single year, every single season. It is what it is, man. The cut is number one here. It's big and baggy, fits over things, has big pockets, so it can almost be an outerwear piece.
Totally.
Also super easy to layer. Second part to me is it's a really high quality fleece, which is important because I think there's definitely grades to this type of fleece. This one, as you can see, because it's already been washed and kind of like processed a little bit, is gonna it gathers almost like furry. It gets like furrier and weirder and denser in texture. Yeah, it's
more plush even.
Yeah. So it really is a piece that will kind of age with you, even though you don't think of fleece as doing that.
Yeah.
And, you know, is it loud? No. Does everyone that I know that have one wear it once a week? 100%.
Yep.
So I think it's one of those pieces that just it seamlessly works into your wardrobe kind of no matter what you're into.
Yep.
And you can, like you were saying, layering a cool Oxford underneath, wearing it, you know, a big jacket underneath is, you know, almost like a,
Totally.
Yeah, just works
Yeah.
no matter what.
Sick.
Yeah. He's coming in a
Love
bunch of cool
these.
colors too.
Yep. Always a repeat for us. We love to have them. All right, this board shirt in like this mohair. Freaky
love this
deaky.
piece. I love this piece.
Yeah.
I think that it's, you know, it's definitely like board shirt. It's a perfect, you know, I don't know if that's what it's called, but
I'm
that's
pretty sure
like
it's a
the
board
exact
shirt, yeah.
definition of like the vintage board shirts that like Pendleton was known for, things
Yep.
like that. So you get the flat hem, you get the old kind of 70s collar. Like I said, a lot of 70s play here. This is that cool mohair that is gonna age and gather and become interesting and more unique as you wear it. I love the color, you know, the color play here. It's all really tonal and subtle. This is a classic piece that ends up like being like very versatile, weirdly, because I don't view this as a board shirt, which I think sometimes can be a little difficult to wear.
Yeah.
And very like summery. This is just, think of it as a cardigan.
Yep.
Once
I would
it's a
say I
cardigan,
would play it
just-
open most of the
just
time.
play it
Yeah.
open with a cool little crop white tee. Easy to go, and it feels loud, even if it's not loud.
No.
If that makes sense. So
No.
it feels like a bold choice without actually making.
It's bold because of the fabric,
Yeah.
maybe, you know, but
But that's what I think. That's great. You know,
Yep.
that's like perfect. The color choices that this matches with. You can put it with jeans. You can put it with like a nice flowy
Yep.
pant. Whatever you want, it's gonna look really cool.
yeah,
You can dress
yeah.
it
I was
with
thinking
dresses,
some just regular light wash jeans would be really
kind of
tasteful with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Love this.
Sick. All right, so we've had this in the next jacket. We've had this material in another jacket, the chore coat. Now we've got it in this type 1. Has the pleating, has the single pocket. I believe we've got the buckle on the back. That's correct. Love this. I particularly love how it ages around the hem, and like we're almost getting roping here, you know what I mean? From the fabric kind of being treated and
You're
also
exactly
lined
right.
here on the inside.
I don't know if it will pick up or not, but this thing that's happening with the white pigment,
Like the high contrast of it, yeah.
And the goal of this is to make it look like it's wool that looks like denim.
Yep.
And very unique challenge to come up with and work through.
Yeah.
But it really shows in person. I think this one is going to be even tough to bring up on the camera or anything, but like in person, it really is unique. There's so much different color variation. It's going to age like denim as you continue to wear it.
It's even riveted, which is sick. Yeah.
And I weirdly think between the two, at least for me, this is the move. This is the fit. You know, I mean, I really like this fit. I really like this color. I feel like it feels high end, but also like you could wear it every single day. And,
It's one of these things where it's kind of for you. You know what I mean? Most people would look at it and just think it's just a gray denim jacket, certainly from across the street. And then if you know, you get up close and you're like, oh, something's a little different about that.
I'm also a big pusher of like anything in mousy brown. Mousy brown looks cool with gray. It looks cool with black, blue. You really can't like make it not work into your system.
It fits within your new rules.
Yeah, it fits within my German Shepherd rules. It really is like it's an easy to wear fabric. In fact, for some reason I don't think I even saw this.
Yeah.
I really am thinking about it now.
Yeah.
It's kind of great.
Yeah. That fabric that we just saw, we've had in this cut before.
Yeah.
And now we've got it in the red. Because we had it in red as well. But this is dope. We have had this one prior. But
same deal, but basically
Chore
just
coat,
in a chore coat. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and you get like a little bit of a hidden detail there. Corduroy collar underneath. I mean, corduroy cuff. So it looks cool when you cuff it up. The undertones to the red are brown. To me, which I think that, like I said, as you wear it and age it, it's going to come through even more. And the pigment on the top layer will kind of fade a bit. Just like denim. This is also pretty roomy. I almost think of this as like you could do it as an overcoat. Like you could wear like a denim jacket underneath this, and especially with the red, like an old beat up denim jacket underneath the red. It's gonna look so good. I also think that if you've been like scared to wear a red jacket before, because we've talked about this before, we like the red, but it can be a little difficult when it's stark because of that brown undertone and how it'll age. I think that alone will work really well.
Like it's certainly red, but there's something about it that makes it not as
it just
drastic
feels
as another red
easier
jacket.
for some reason. So really cool stuff. It's all about the fabric on this.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. All right, this will correspond with that pair of jeans we had earlier, slightly. Denim might be a little more washed on the pants, but same denim.
Yeah.
Just treatment might be slightly different. It appears.
Listen, I think that if you really wanted, if you've been a person looking for a type 1, but are struggling with it because type 1s generally don't fit great, this is perfect.
Yep.
Way boxier, but not huge.
Not as cropped as a true like vintage type 1 would be. Despite Kapital typically doing pretty cropped, hyper vintage fitting things, this feels like the other side of the spectrum, like a very wearable type 1, where the things you don't want in a type 1, you won't find here.
And nothing beats type 1. Like if I was gonna layer, like I would love it to be more washed for the red, but this is the type, this is like, type 1 is so good as a layering.
Yep.
Because you get all of this cool stuff that pops out, but you don't have bulky pockets on both sides, only one side. Usually they're a little thinner, a little less details, a little bit more straightforward. This is all those things. So kind of the perfect thing. If you're a big green pants person, like we know that you might be.
Guilty.
This is kind of like the perfect thing for on top. So green pants, white t-shirt, this is like the dream.
Sick.
You know what I mean? So
I'm with you. It's the Canoe Club uniform.
Yeah. So this is just a really good version of that thing. And just don't forget that Kapital is a denim brand first and foremost. That's how they started. So this is them kind of doing bread and butter technically.
Yep. I mean, pop over. I'm sure we have a blog discussing Kapital, but GQ also did a stellar write-up a handful of years ago talking about Kapital with a C and how that actually began as, that is the predecessor to Kapital as we know. All right, we got this long sleeve, kind of has some of this, southwestern detailing here along the elbow and the hem. Yep.
And what's really cool is this is sort of like, it doesn't feel like, sometimes embroidery feels very on top of fabric, especially when it's like this. This is like an ultra soft jersey. It's crazy. This is so soft. Yeah. It blends in almost seamlessly. It doesn't feel like you got a big bulky like patch on your elbow. It really feels like it's
part
its
of the
own
fabric.
thing. I think this would be super cool, like even if you were to wear it like underneath an old t-shirt or something, as like just a pop, but also just like a good layering piece, because you layer underneath thing, you get this great washed out red. Like I said, this is like some of the softest shit you felt. It's almost knit. I don't think it's knit, but it feels like it could be. There's nothing else crazy there. It's just sort of this interesting, like you get this interesting detail, and I like that it runs all the way through the cuff, so you even get these little hits on the cuff. So again, even if you were wearing this underneath something, you just
still get the
little
interest
pop.
popping out.
It's really cool. Really special. And then you get it on the back.
Oh yeah, detailing on the back too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It's the same thing, just on the back. I think it's great, easy to wear, but also like if you want a big statement, you wear it on its own. If you don't, you wear it underneath something. You're gonna wear it a ton because of how soft and comfortable it is.
Yeah, dope. All right, now Timbo, this is something that Kapital does. A lot of the time it's a crew neck and it's gonna have, the whole front panel is different, and it's a Sherpa or it's a quilted fabric or something of the like, or it's the backside and it's got denim on it and paired up with like a sweatshirt material. This one, in this case, this is on the front side. It's very tonal. We've got like straight up, just like cotton sweatshirt material mixed with, what would you say about this?
If I'm being fully honest, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it is.
Because it almost looks like it's the fabric and then it was like heat treated. This doesn't even, this might be like a vinyl or something.
Yeah, I mean,
it's freaky.
It's thicker, but also does still feel like it was just like almost screen printed directly on, even though it's not gonna hold onto this, and that's what's interesting. You see that it's like not holding perfectly, and it's not going to continue.
The texture will show through.
Change and age and fall apart and even look cooler for it. It's a really unique piece. It almost feels like dirt, you know what I mean? It has this really, it's deep texturally, especially the print. It's really interesting. This almost seems like leather to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I don't know how to define it. This is a really unique piece, and I think that like when brands get into a space where it's like, I don't even know how to, I've been in this most of my life and I don't know how to like
sure what this
describe
treatment
this
is.
exactly. It's really cool. Again, would look really cool underneath something, but a fun, bold statement on its own as well.
Yep.
Yeah, really cool.
Yep. Pretty true to size fitting too.
Yeah.
Nothing
easy to
one
wear
way.
other than the fact that you got that high pile Sherpa with that interesting technique. Everything else is like pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Dope. All right. This is sick. So another beautiful type 1 in this. This would be leopard, maybe? Cheetah?
Leopard, cheetah, somewhere in between. I think leopard.
Big cat?
Yeah. Big cat.
Big cat.
Yeah. This is very similar to the one that we looked at before texturally. It's that wool. Again, you get this super interesting, like, I don't know if it's gonna come across or not, I can't tell, but all of this is deep and textural, this like yellowish, tannish color.
Yeah.
For me, this is one of the most wearable versions of this type of print than I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, dude.
Because it almost reads knit, because it's a very tight, small spot, like you're saying almost cheetah has.
Yeah.
It feels easier because it's more of a print rather than it is like, you know, a true replication.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think also the washed out nature makes it
looks
less
old.
contrasty, so it's not as like intense of a pattern.
Yeah, 100%.
More of just a texture. So
again, I think that something like this with like a black tee and black jeans is like such a bold, cool, very rock and roll statement.
Yeah.
But also if you take this and put this underneath like a long brown wool coat or something, and that's your pop, that's really gnarly.
Sick.
Yeah, and because it would be so tonal in that case, or like a black wool Chesterfield or something, it's gonna be the pop.
Yep.
And it looks old, and it just is this unique draw to what you're wearing. I think it's incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're someone who's like been a maybe on like, oh, I'm drawn to this kind of texture, this print, I've been drawn to like bringing it into my wardrobe in some way, this is the one, I'd say, because it's just that natural aging really makes it look
just
easier
thought too, if you're unsure of like animal print, this is just camo, man.
Yeah,
it's just camo. Treat it like you would camo.
Exactly. Like if you think of frog camo, it's almost exactly the same.
Thing,
And so I think that's a great way of putting it. If you're not sure how to do it, just put it in place of camo, and it's the same thing. But it feels bolder.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Yeah,
it definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is similar fit, if not the exact same fit.
Exact same fit as the one that we talked about earlier. Again, I just think this, if you had like a cool like beat up brown thermal or long sleeve and you put this underneath this and this is kind of your top layer, really, really gnarly, man.
Agreed, yeah.
Great unisex piece. It's gonna work really cool on all different people's, all different body shapes. It's really special. Love this Kapital print. That's their like traditional logo, like the most traditional
when you think of when you first started working with them, yeah.
Yep, and it's done like, I think this will show, but it's not just like a line, it's done like this. It goes this way.
Almost,
you see
like,
what I'm saying?
You know, not like surging, but like a surge on a sewing machine.
But it's all vertical lines.
Yeah.
That fine.
I want to point out,
what I'm trying to point out, this would take a long time.
It's not as easy as just stitching a line.
Yeah, no, so it would take a long time.
Just as a complete aside, in the calendars they gifted us, the font that it's written in, I was like, this is really interesting. It's this.
Oh.
They took the font and basically threw something in Illustrator, I'm sure some sort of situation, made this, so it's that intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those aren't accidents. They chose to do this because, like you said, it'd be easier to do something else than do it this way. It would take less time. And with that, they could have used a font, but they made it like that. Very cool. Wanted to show some
This
love.
is cool. I just think these are so fun to style too.
Yeah, dude.
They work in so many different ways.
Yep.
But they also feel like you could just throw them over the top. Like if you just had jeans and a t-shirt on, you throw this on the top, suddenly you're...
Here is a perfect example.
Guy.
If you're anybody in the YouTube that's listened to us for a long time, or you listen to the podcast, or you've emailed us for measurements, we don't put measurements up alongside products. This is an exact example as to why. You can reach out and you can hit us up for measurements. We'll give you measurements. We can talk to you about a piece. I can tell you the pit to pit on this.
56 or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It means nothing at that point. Whatever the measurement is, it doesn't mean anything.
No.
It's how are you going to wear it? How are you going to style it? It's one size. So like, how tall are you? And there's so many factors that come into it.
This is going to fit me well. It's going to fit you well. It's going to fit Kate well. It's going to fit the UPS guy out there well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just going to settle in exactly how it needs to.
Yep.
And that's what's kind of smart about this kind of cut. And even though it feels bold, it actually will. It's really accommodating.
Totally.
Yeah.
All in the fit. Love that it's just got that logo too. A little more low key than the BORO.
And just saying it one more time, everything comes in a bunch of other colors, so keep that in mind.
Pop over to the
Please
side
check it
and
out. Links are below.
So they do this kind of baseball silhouette style. It's a Great Oil Country Hard 47 ball. So I want to show this before we even get to the outside. This lining is beautiful. Same font as in the cropped corduroy jacket that we saw. Absolutely stellar. Oil coated, so lighter than a wax.
Yeah.
But still has a
Yeah,
treatment.
it doesn't feel like it's sitting on top. It feels like it's in the cloth itself. So it'll age really cool. I would wear this in the same way I'd wear a barber jacket.
100%.
If that makes sense. Except for with this, looks really cool with the hoodie underneath it.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are really cool when you see them styled. I love the way they lay. It feels kind of like how you can almost take those sort of Naragi style jackets and just throw them over. I would wear it almost just like that.
Yep.
But think barber adjacent.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Dope.
Yeah,
We've had this
cool.
in multiple different treatments, but I really do like this treatment. Oh, cool.
Cuff on the inside there, really great. Feels like the old vintage A2 ones, different kind of colors in it too, which are great.
Yep.
Totally adjustable, very big pockets.
Proper pockets with
Yeah.
this big sort of, and
Really
then just
cool.
to show,
Nice
nothing
fur
on the
pattern.
back.
Yeah,
So it's
super
kinda-
simple, straightforward. Think baseball jersey, just like you could wear it as a jacket.
Yeah, hell yeah. Moving on. We have these, again, another knit hoodie. This is very soft.
Yeah,
The fit
super
is
light.
slightly different. It will gather around the waist on
Yeah,
this one.
it'll kind of do the old little fold thing there.
Yep.
But it'll do it nicely, stay put. The fabric is so soft and drapey.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I mean, there's nothing really wild here. Again, I think of this as like such an interesting chance to bring in almost, because it's playing off a couple different ideas, but certainly when I see it, I think kind of those old Nordic sweaters.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And I think it looks really cool underneath jackets and things like that. I love the hood would be so comfortable to actually use and feel great around here. Almost think of it's like adding like a scarf to this sweater.
Yep.
With
Oh,
the hood.
sick. That's smart. Yep. And then
Yeah.
with the nature of it, it'll be cropped enough. So if you got like a t-shirt or something else poking out the bottom underneath the jacket, you get the proportions. It's all going to be at different levels. Should look really cool on body.
Yeah. Really cool.
One more hoodie, one more shirt, and then whatever ones I'm sure looking at right behind us. 1920 Speakeasy, Capital Country. Again, playing in with this motif, the eyes in all of the counter shapes of these letters, and then
out.
got them on the cuff.
Eyes on
So
the cuffs
sick.
as well.
Yep.
Really cool. Very much like a vintage college sweatshirt, both aesthetically but also in fit and feel.
Yep.
It's really washed out. It's already kind of getting that like kind of top layer of fuzz on it, like an
Yeah.
old sweatshirt gets that like you dream of finding. And you can see on the inside, the loops there are really like big and thick, and it's going to age even better as you wear it. Really great. I love the colors on all these too, because you're really getting these like nice, like very washed out, warm tones.
Yep. I love a red hoodie, dude. Red.
He really does.
I really love a red hoodie. It's the best iteration of that color for a garment. All right, just two more. This is an anorak. Cool because they're taking this super light stone washed, almost like acid wash color denim.
Yeah,
They've
but
got
it's very
this-
like even in tone as opposed to
Even
acid
in
wash
tone,
would have
yep.
the unevenness is very even across all of it.
Yep. This hem on the front is much shorter than the back, so you get that cool proportion similar to an anorak. You've got the
Yeah, important to notice
cords?
here, cool paracords here, and they're locking, so you can pull it all the way in and lock it at different points, which is really great on a pullover because you know, pros and cons, it has this big wide fit, and I think that there's some ways like I would actually wear like maybe a flannel or something underneath
Yeah,
and have
yeah,
it
yeah.
like let it be nice and big and open. But I also think with a t-shirt or something and like a higher waisted jean, you can kind of tighten all that up and then kind of create a whole different proportion. With
Yeah,
it.
well, I mean, it looks cool, just like this.
Yep.
You know.
So weirdly easy to wear for how unique it is. And also important to note the fabric is heavy denim that has been washed out. It's super soft.
Yeah.
So also will layer and like lay nicely on your body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And not so washed out that it won't show wear, elbows and stuff.
That-
over
it'll
time.
continue to,
things you like in
bring
denim
in
as you
more.
wash
Yeah.
it. I mean, you can even tell here. Let me put this up here. Got this cool roping around where the cord is, but you know what I'm saying. Typically, you have the roping on the hem, but you got it here on the cord, which is just really nice. And
I
pretty.
love the kind of copper threading top stitching they're using.
Yep.
And the big buttons.
Oh yeah.
Big
Honkers.
buttons are, yep.
Honkers.
Very traditional too. Feels like an old USN piece.
All right, and last but not least, certainly, the Cowichan. Now, Timbo, give a quick backstory. We had a Cowichan when the store first opened,
Yep.
technically before I was a customer at that point. I had not worked here.
So lore on this one kind of goes back a long time now. This was originally when we got it, it was part of the country collection only.
And it was slightly different, a little longer in length, but the treatment, it's generally this.
It was a little more patchworked too.
Yeah.
A bit, so you can kind of see, it was a little more, it had like almost like that hand knit feel of like this was almost put on different than this. And it was a little, yeah, definitely a little longer. It was more of, not quite roby, but longer than a standard Cowichan like this one. It had very vintagey buttons, different types of rope. It had variations, but the
Sure.
main thing was at that point, because it was all country, I think that there was only maybe like 10 or 12 of them made total.
That's what was always told to us.
And it was basically like Eric Clapton and John Mayer owned one, and
Pharrell.
then there was Pharrell, and then there were a handful of other ones. We had like 2 at the time.
Bob has one.
And they sold out right away. It's a really special piece. So this is sort of like an updated version where it's just, I would argue maybe slightly more wearable than those original because it's a little shorter.
I was gonna say the length made it feel almost like you kind of had to wear it outside mostly.
And the patchwork nature made it feel a little bit more delicate than this.
Yeah.
Is. So a little bit of an update, a little bit of a cleanup, but still looks like the classic.
Yep.
The other cool thing is this is very similar to the original color, but it's a little bit more texture. Like you'll notice like that orangey and yellow color feel like they blend together really nicely. And I believe it comes in like a brown as well. It's almost like a charcoaly brown.
A charcoaly brown, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, so comes in a couple options too. This is a piece people have asked us about forever, like just kind of keep coming back to us and saying, hey, when's that piece gonna come back? Will they ever do another one of these? And short answer, no, but they are doing this version, and this version's really great.
Yep, I wanna say not light in nature. Like if you're worried about function in this thing, you'd stay warm in it.
Yep, and again, I know we've brought this up a couple times because it has that classic look, almost like Western vibes. It really looks cool with like, if you have a full denim kit underneath and put this as your top layer, it looks really great. That's how Bob often wears it.
I wanna show this hem, this treatment where it's like almost like a heavily crocheted, then attached, but it is, there's volume to it.
You can see when you see the underside here, which they probably could have seen already, of how hand knit this is. Like just how like handmade it is in nature.
Okay, so yeah, here's the inside.
And because of that, each one's gonna have some of its own unique qualities, which is really cool.
So, yeah, man.
This big dense, I've had a couple of these big dense sweaters in the past. The other thing is too, they kind of form to your body over time, and they really get like more and more comfortable and easy to wear as you put in time with them.
Yep.
Obviously great like chondro buttons, big leather tie. You're gonna wear this and turn heads, basically. You know what I mean? Like, oh, almost went down. You'll wear this and turn heads. This is like this is a showpiece. These are awesome. And I don't know when they'll do them again or if they will. So.
I mean, if you got it like that and it's your daily driver, cool, it's gonna look cool. And this is something like this you can always repair too. Yeah. Like little hand repairs and a hand knit thing is something that you look for in like a vintage piece. Is what makes it so cool, you know? Or it could be your splash out piece. You're gonna go out to a nice sushi dinner or something.
Yeah, good either way. But
go to your friend's potluck. Go to your office potluck. The Cowichan from Kapital only felt right to end on this one, but that does kind of conclude everything that we've gotten in the last couple
I would
shipments,
imagine there was probably a couple pieces we missed because we've had, like I said, a lot of different deliveries around now. So please check out the website. Also, you're going to want to check out all the alternate colors here. I mean, it's Kapital.
Yeah, what's not to love?
There's tons. I mean, I think there's like something for everybody within these past handful of deliveries. Not here, but like I know there was bandana restocks. I know that there was a couple of small accessories, socks, all the classics. So definitely piece through and know that there are also a bunch of restocks in there that we focused on the new stuff.
You could even sort by new on the Kapital page.
Yep.
If you wanted to just
of what's been
look at this and look alongside, read your product descriptions that you wrote, stuff like that. So
cool.
It's been a real hoot, huh?
Yeah, we got through it. So hopefully you do the same. Hopefully you liked it. If you have questions, drop them down below. If you got other brands you want us to definitely hit on that we haven't in this way, we're happy to do that.
Happy to do it, yeah.
Other than that,
guys, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/shopcanoeclub. Our podcast, where podcasts are found, customer service podcast. Other than that, legitimately, thank you so much. We've seen more people coming to the YouTube as of lately, so there's probably some new people who aren't familiar with us watching this right now. Hope you dig it. Be in contact with us. We're easy to get a hold of through our various ways. Shoot me an email if you want to invite to the Discord.
We're around.
We're around. So
hopefully it's fun, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep, sounds good. Bye.